He needs a bit of backup. So, this is really interesting. This is innate behaviour. Buzzards break into emu eggs naturally. Tool use in animals is usually associated with high intelligence, like parrots, but we did not teach him how to do this. The first time he saw an egg in a rock, it's like he became a robot. He didn't know why he was doing it. When he broke in and got a week's worth of food in one hit, he knew exactly why he was doing it. Oh, that was a pretty good hit, my boy. I think we've hard-boiled this one. Keep at it, though. I like your endeavour. Oh, it's nearly there. So, if he can crack into it, well done, buddy. Happy days. Yeah, if he can get into it, it's a really good resource. Not even a wedge-tailed eagle, which is 4 times bigger, can get into something like that. So buzzards are unique in so many ways. He's got this amusing / majestic shuffle to him. He's quite happy on the ground, and you are in the best spot in the country to see black-breasted buzzards. If they're common anywhere, they're common in Central Australia. I sometimes see them on the road to Uluru, and I also sometimes see them on the road out to the West MacDonald Ranges. But just look for the big white windows. That's one of the best ways to identify him. So one of the best spots to look for buzzards are desert rivers. They're an interesting habitat. They're usually quite dry. That's where the big river red gums exist because of the water underneath the rivers, and that's the tallest trees in the area. So raptors love nesting in the tall trees. When those trees actually hollow out and die, they're still an awesome place for lots of animals to live. Now we have a hollowed out, dead, broken tree in the arena. Towards the back right of the stage, in the shade of the bloodwood up the back right, you can see the dead broken off tree. Now it doesn't look much to us. Do you keep your eyes on said tree hollow? Hopefully you'll gain a little bit of perspective on how important they are to a whole bunch of critters. So this beautiful bird is an eastern barn owl. Now barn owls are successful all over the world. And you can find them on every continent except Antarctica. So extremely successful, adaptable bird, and you can find them living in the desert. So one of the key things about her that people really love, that beautiful heart-shaped face. It's quite a romantic face. She's more than just a pretty face though. Acts like a big feathery satellite dish, helps catch sound for her, and that's her dominant sense, her hearing. So her ears are actually at different levels on her head, and they're slightly asymmetrical. You can't see them, they're hidden underneath her feathers. She's got one ear slightly higher on one side than on the other, and that gives her wonderful depth perception. She's got famously good hearing. She can hear mice from around 50 metres away on a completely silent night. She also flies in complete silence, as she flies like a little ghost. You can test it in a second when she finishes that little bit of food. She's going to fly over. See if you can hear anything as she goes. Pretty sneaky. So she flies in complete silence, and when she's hunting in the dark, rats and mice cannot see or hear her coming. So she's a perfect little stealth bomber, and they're wonderful things to have around. Like me in a mouse plague year, which is a bad year for us, great year for them. She could have 5 or 6 chicks and hunt between 30 and 40 mice every single night with her partner. So not only the prettiest pest contractor you could ever have in, but one of the most eco-friendly, cheapest one too. So it's good to get owls in and around your area if you can. They do struggle from secondary poisoning. If you poison mice at home, the barn owl can die from eating that poisoned mouse. So keep that in mind. But look for barn owls wherever you live. Agricultural areas, they're relatively common. Sorry for getting in the way, sweetheart. They're quite common in agricultural areas. They love farms where grain is growing. All the mice equals lots of owls. And some of the more enterprising places I've seen owls, vineyards especially, like putting owl boxes all the way through their vineyards. That gets the barn owls in, and you get wonderful cheap public relations posting lots of cute fluffy pictures of owls on Facebook because they're in there taking care of the mice. So wonderful bit of PR and win-win situation. There's a western bowerbird up the back there. That's pretty cool and relatively common in the centre. And he might be actually, he's way up the back. He's not ours, so sorry if you can't see him. He's a wonderful mimic. So if I hear a devastating cry of a peregrine falcon from nowhere, it's probably him just trying to put me off. So he's a very good mimic. Now, in the desert, we actually have 2 species of owl that live out here. The second one is this little chap. He is a southern boobook. You might know him as a mopoke. Mopoke's very common nighttime call, and he is quite different to the barn owl. He mostly uses his eyes for his hunting, and he hunts a little bit more like a hawk. He's in the hawk owl family, and he's got those big, beautiful eyes to which really help him to hunt. Most of his head is actually filled up with those eyes, about 2/3 of it. And there's not a massive amount of room left for his brain. I'm not being rude, he's very good at his job, but these birds can actually turn their head nearly the whole way around. You're in the scrub, my boy. Come back here. This is your day job. Oh, look at that, like a goshawk. Well done. So his big, beautiful eyes, they're actually shaped like big cylinders. They go all the way to the back of his head nearly, and that's why he can't turn, why he can't move his eyes independently. So just take a seat, sir. He's going to fly over in a second. You just got to sit down. Sit. Well, yep. So he's actually relatively common in town, which is pretty cool. They love hunting underneath all the artificial lights, all the beetles and moths and bats underneath. Oh, I got a fluffy black kite sitting there as well. He looks very relaxed having a preen. Not part of the show, my boy. He does look very handsome. So, yeah, this little owl will usually hunt underneath lights in town. Football stadium floodlights are a good spot to go watching them. I was playing soccer 2 nights ago. I was very distracted by boorbooks hunting bats underneath the lights. I was told by my teammates to stop bird watching, but the boorbooks love hunting underneath those lights. And even the little sensor lights that you might have outside of your house that sense you when you come back at night time. People have seemingly watched boorbooks fly back and forth in front of the sensor that turns the light on. They can turn the light on. It's a little bit like ordering takeaway. All the beetles come to you. It's fascinating if it's true, but yeah, like I said, most of his head is filled with his eyes. There's not a massive brain in there, so it's interesting if the boorbooks are doing it on purpose. One of the best way to know that he's around, you get better, run away, buddy, that kite's looking at you. The kite's not going to hurt him. Kites hunt little things. Watch your heads. So the best way to know that he's around, he's listening for his call. It sounds like he's saying his own name, Boo-book, or Mo-poke. It's just that double-noted call you'll hear nearly anywhere in the bush. You guys, almost all of you will probably have heard it. So, not all birds are as successful as barn owls and boorbooks, especially ground-dwelling birds. It's a bit of a tricky niche to live on the ground when you're a bird. There's a lot more big and dangerous things down there to take you out. And this beautiful lady is a Mustang Curlew, and she mostly lives on the ground. She runs around on those legs. They can fly. They're not very strong flyers, and they prefer not to. But these beautiful birds hunt at night time. They'll just hunt insects, geckos, frogs, all those sorts of things. And her camouflage works beautifully. She's got a very beautiful pattern. Oh, there's a bonus one that Maggie missed. There we go. Got another one, Curlew. So that camouflage works beautifully when she's sitting down in some woodland. If she doesn't move, then she stays hidden from aerial predators like hawks and eagles. The kite won't bother her. That's why she doesn't doesn't care about that kite. Yeah, if they stay perfectly still, they're very, very stealthy. And against an eagle, they can't be seen. So up north, sometimes they get called feathered garden gnomes because they just sit in your garden all day, not moving. A little bit silly. So sadly, they're actually in all sorts of trouble. Curlews in southern Australia. Foxes and cats have it all over curlews. They did not evolve any tricks to escape from a cat or a fox, and the first time a curlew meets a fox or a cat, it's invariably the last time. You do see photos of dead curlews being attacked by foxes. It's very sad. Cats are a particular problem in the desert. We don't have too many foxes up here. At an estimated 2 to 5 million feral cats running around, causing untold damage to all sorts of native wildlife. If you've got a pet cat, you can help. Please don't let your pet cat out at night time, and please get it desexed. They're going to hunt a lot during the night time. It's not their fault if you let them out. But if you keep them in at night time, you're keeping them safe, keeping wildlife safe too. But in northern Australia, they're still pretty common. Cairns, Townsville, Katherine, Brisbane, anywhere up north, they're relatively common. I assume some of you guys have heard the call before of these guys? Anyone? Anyone want to describe it? Death call, yes, it is rather terrifying if you don't know what's making it. It has been described as listening to someone being murdered in the bush. It's kind of terrifying, but if you know what's making it, it's so beautiful and eerie. So yeah, you could share a campsite with them if you go up north, see how you go. Okay, my leggy friend, we've discussed your camouflage doesn't work as well as it once did. What are you going to do next time you see a cat? That stops me. Very she's not really winning any running races. And, yeah, cats and foxes got all over them, sadly. Now, some of the easier birds to see in the centre include parrots. Budgies are a charismatic one that people really love to see. Seeing 10,000 parrots all in the same little big flock is really cool. Watching the predators hunt the budgies is mesmerising. It's one of the most amazing things you'll ever see. So we're going to try and put a little predator through her paces. She's going to be hunting a budgie. His name is James. He's going to get hunted, and this kite might get buzzed out of her territory here. So this little winged rocket is called an Australian hobby, or a little falcon. So falcons are the quickest living things in the world by a very long way, and this hobby is quick and agile and intelligent, and a really lovely bird to watch in action. So she's got long pointed wings. That's a really good way to identify a falcon. And oh, look at that, nice turn. She really slices through the air. That kite's just sitting up there with his foot up. He's just chilling, watching the show. You'll see this falcon's legs flash out. When she thinks she's close to the prey, she'll whack out her feet and try and smack it out of the sky. And bang, there we go. So she's hit it and it's on the ground and she gets her prize. And that's how she hunts. What do you like to it's finally here? Yeah, well done, Falcon. That's cool. So, yeah, she'll whack out her foot. If you've ever been bitten by a pet parrot, maybe a cockatiel or a budgie, you know it hurts a lot. If she holds onto a struggling cockatiel, she could risk losing a toe or a foot. So often she'll just hit it and then let go. A lot safer that way. So falcons are interesting. She's actually closer related to a pet budgie than that kite up there. So she's closer related to parrots than she is the other hawks. And you see a lot of a parrot's intelligence in a falcon. She'll use all sorts of tactics on her prey. One of her favourite one is using the sun behind her when she dives at the prey. So you'll notice this budgie's wearing sunnies. This falcon has done it over and over to us, and she loves it when we get blinded. We just put the lure on the ground and she wins. So, oh, that was close. And she'll use the crowd as cover. She'll use all sorts of things to hide her approach. She's a sneaky little falcon. So, look at that dive. Lovely. She's like poetry in motion. It's not much better than a falcon. So in terms of speed, she's capable of at least 100 kilometres an hour. Her close cousin in Europe has been clocked at 160. I think the budgie's in trouble here. Bang! There we go, caught that. So 160 is definitely achievable for this little bird. You don't often get to see hobbies sitting still. They're a relatively common falcon, but you just don't see them sitting still very often. That beautiful slatey steely grey on the back, and the copper tones on the front. And it even looks like she's wearing a little flight helmet, doesn't she? But very beautiful little falcon. And the little bird's alarm calls usually tell you when there's a falcon or a hawk around. Thanks, Budgie. Good work. That was excellent. Not an easy job. She's obviously very fast and always trying to outthink us. So falcons, especially bird hunting falcons, are definitely, you know what's coming next, don't you, lad? Not the most common raptors, because they use a lot of energy. They catch other birds for a living, and it can take 7 or 8 attempts to catch just one bird. So usually it pays to be a little less explosive, a bit less glamorous, use less energy, cruise around looking for easier food. And the birds that you're most likely to see in the desert, there, go tell him to go are the kites. So kites are birds of prey that stay up nice and easy, just like a kite, and they really do resemble a kite when they're hanging effortlessly on the breeze. Now there are 2 species that we're looking at. The bird just up here is a whistling kite, so the long paddle-shaped tail gliding over you is a whistling kite, and the bird with a long fork-shaped tail is called a black kite. Now, they used to be called fork-tailed kites, which arguably makes more sense, but black kites are found absolutely everywhere. They're one of the most successful birds on the planet. And if you watch closely, both these raptors are wonderful multitaskers. They can catch that food in their talons, pass it straight up into their beaks, and as you can see, there's a bit of competition already. Kites love stealing from each other. They much prefer watching their buddies do all the hard work and then come in at the last second and grab the glory. And if you can catch it, chuck it straight to your beak, that way you usually keep it. Now, both these raptors are pretty good at taking things off the ground. Whistler is spectacular at it. He's really good at catching bearded dragons, stunning themselves on rocks. And he's capable of catching something up to the size, but again, up to the size of a medium-sized rabbit. So whistling kites are quite a versatile hunter. He's actually got other skills up his feathery sleeve. He is an adept fishing raptor, so he can take fish off the water as well. He's just got so many skills, and that's one of the reasons why they're so successful. They're absolutely everywhere. And one of the best spots to go watching fishing whistling kites, or birds in general, out here is the permanent water, so Ellery Creek, Glen Helen, and Ormiston Gorge. If you haven't been out there already, definitely recommend it. Any water is literally an oasis in the desert, so it's a very cool country. You can take note of the birds too. It's a lovely added dimension. So guys, if you're from the Ghan, if you just stay seated for us, we'll be back out with you guys in a sec. Everyone else, if you want to chat to the guides on your way out, they'll answer any questions you have about what else is happening on the park for the rest of the day. Thanks for coming. Hope you had a good afternoon. Cheers.